need is a kind of no-fly zone. Means to deny to Muammar Gaddafi the use of his air force against the Libyan on the ground. So how to implement such decision? The United States has military assets on the Mediterranean area, especially the Sixth Fleet, and will be able to disrupt all his system of command, communication, control, and intelligence. Means creating a kind of jamming his system to not allow him to use any system to be in contact with other echelons or to be in contact with the famous 32nd Brigade led by his son. So, and in the meantime, the Americans will be able also to monitor the border, the southern border with Niger and Chad, in order to prevent the mercenaries to coming into Libya, inside Libya. And the United States will be able to send a severe message to the African states, the African leadership, telling them, look, you are not allowed to sending those mercenaries to Gaddafi. So the United States has a lot of options now. They don't need to bomb the so-called anti-artillery aircraft. What they must do, what they should do, is to jam and to disrupt his system.
Now, there are diplomatic efforts by the United Kingdom and France to persuade the other 3 members of the United Nations permanent members in the Security Council to pass a resolution imposing a no-fly zone over Libya. Do you think they're going to be able to succeed this time around?
I think as far as now the National Transitional Council established in Benghazi is in contact with the main permanent members and the security councils with Russia and China, and they will be able to influence them and to tell them, look, your interest, and especially your oil assets in Libya, should be with us, with the temporary or the provisional government, rather than with Gaddafi. Gaddafi is finished. Gaddafi is losing control of the country, and he's no longer a representative, a legitimate representative of the Libyan people.
Okay, Professor, we're going to have to leave it there. Thanks for joining us. More than 3 weeks have passed since the Egyptian uprising that ousted Hosni Mubarak, but the protests and the fallout go on. The former Interior Minister has pleaded not guilty to charges of money laundering and profiteering. Habib El-Adli was arrested last month and is widely blamed for the violent crackdown on anti-government demonstrators. And in the past few hours, protesters in Cairo have stormed the state security building there. It follows a similar incident in the port city of Alexandria on Friday. Demonstrators there claim security officials inside were trying to shred sensitive documents. Evidence, they say, of human rights abuses under the former regime. Lubna Darwish was at the state security headquarters in Cairo's Nasser city. She left there about 20 minutes ago and she joins us now. What was taking place at that building?
Excuse me again? Can you say that again? Can you repeat it, please?
Okay, can you hear me? Right. Could you tell us what took place at that building, at that state security building? What was going on there?
For 3 hours, we were demonstrating in front of the building, and then at one point, the doors were opened. We stormed the building. We entered almost every office in the building. In every office, we saw tons and tons of paper, shredded papers, and leftovers, and actually we can see some of the shredders at some places already still working, and still warm. And then we saw a lot of folders of different cases, journals, newspapers, different political groups, almost of everything. And then we went to a specific underground place where we found cells where people recognized they were tortured there. They told their own stories, how they were there for 12 days or 14 days or a month, almost blindfolded all the time. They were tortured there. They were questioned there. That was about 20 cells. Next to these cells, we found a big room full of folders of almost every sectarian action that took place in Egypt, bombing that took place in Egypt in the last 10 years. We saw folders about almost every activist we can recognize. People were finding their own folders of files of their own activities, personal photos, We found photos of our friends and their life, logs of phone calls, logs of emails, chats, SMSs, almost every kind of communication possible. And in one of the there was 5 folders titled CIA FBI. There were full of communications between CIA, what looked like CIA officials, and Egyptian state security officials. CIA officials asking state security officials to question specific prisoners about specific incidents and in relation to other what they recognize as extremist groups or extremist individuals. And they were full of back and forth conversations between Egyptian and American FBI on one side, or like CIA on one side and FBI on the other, Egyptian state security forces.
Okay, now, what did people do with these documents? Did they take them away?
People actually tried to take their own files away, but we were prevented from doing that. The military took over everything. They claim they're going to give it to go into prosecution, give it to judges to take care of it, but I'm not sure this is going to happen. So we hope this is going to happen and this will go into trial, but I'm not sure.
Now, you say there were people in there, they were still at work. Did anyone try to stop you taking those documents or going from office to office?
No, in the beginning, nobody stopped us from going from office to office and going into... They stopped us in the beginning to go into the cells, where the cells were and where all the important files were. But in the end, we went there. Nobody stopped us, but people, like the military, stopped us from going outside.
Okay.
There was nobody inside when we went in. There was no state security forces whatsoever.
All right, thanks for that. Lubna Darwish talking to us from Cairo. You're still with Al Jazeera, still ahead. On the offensive in Somalia, troops and peacekeepers claim some success against Islamist fighters. And is Europe turning its back on multiculturalism? We visit an ethnically diverse area of London.
Hello there, we've got some very disturbed weather to come across northern parts of Australia over the next couple of days. Big clutch of thunderheads just appearing into that western side of Queensland. I think there is a real risk of some flooding to come here over the next few days. Then you can see how heavy our rainfall chart shows up across this particular part of Queensland. Heavy showers too, nasty little circulation up towards the Gulf of Carpentaria. Follow these winds round into the southeastern corner. Well, Adelaide will see temperatures getting up to 37 Celsius. Some very hot weather down here. High pressure in charge for southeastern parts of Australia. Over to the west, it is largely dry, but a little line of shower cloud again just pushing its way towards western parts of South Australia as we move into the early part of next week. Still a chance of some wetter weather to come here. Touch cooler as the rain edges its way towards Adelaide, 31 Celsius by this stage. Queensland, still seeing plenty of showers. Brisbane, on the other hand, southern parts of Queensland will gradually start to dry up and to brighten up. We come down into New Zealand and it's very autumnal, wet and windy for many. North Island certainly seeing some heavy downpours through Sunday.